Agent-to-agent A2A communications. This new paradigm known as agent-to-agent represents the future of AI where autonomous agents can communicate, collaborate, or even transact with each other with minimal human involvement. Advantages of A2A systems are multiple agents working in parallel can process information faster than a single agent. Different agents can focus on what they do best. A2A systems can handle increasing workloads by adding more agents. If one agent fails, others can continue functioning. Agents built with different frameworks and tools can communicate via standardized protocols like MCP. When these agents can communicate effectively, they can collectively tackle complex workflows and deliver more sophisticated solutions than any individual agent could alone. But there are also challenges. Inter-agent communication often relies on API calls over networks, which can introduce latency. This delay can affect responsiveness and efficiency, especially in real-time applications. In some architectures, agents may depend on intermediary agents to facilitate communication. If these intermediate agents are offline or unavailable, it can disrupt communication between primary agents. You can see two agents communicating. They can be created using different frameworks, tooling, and MCP. MCP is called Model Context Protocol. If you want to know more about it, you can visit my GitHub page. So MCP is an open standard that simplifies how large language models (LLMs) access and interact with external data tools and services. In our A2A system, I am going to integrate this MCP backend. We will run the application later, but for now let's discuss the structure. The client application structure. This is our client React application, where we can simply write a prompt. The client application is composed of three parts. The chat interface, where we can enter prompts and receive messages. Agent Manager allows you to dynamically add and remove agents. We will explore this further. And Agent Card Model. Each agent is represented by its own card. Agent card is visual and programmatic representation of an agent in A2A system. It displays information, monitors status, and enables interactions. This is the Coder Agent. The name is Coder Agent, a software development agent specialized in writing, generating, and creating code files across multiple programming languages, ideal for programming tasks, including snippets, scripts, and complete program files. Endpoint for interacting with the agent. It supports streaming. So the agent can stream outputs such as code generation result in real time. No push notifications, no updates. Transaction history. Yes, it supports transaction history. It tracks states, actions for debugging, and context. Input modes. It's text, actual textual commands or prompts for code generation. Output modes. It's text and file. Returns result either as code snippets or downloadable files. It also has skills. It can write, generate, and create code snippets, scripts, or full programs. Supports real-time streaming feedback. Tags. It's code development, programming, software scripting functions. So we can say that this Coder Agent is a specialized agent for software development tasks. It supports streaming, tracks state transitions, and outputs text or files. It automates programming tasks across languages, making it a versatile tool in A2A workflows. The next agent is the YouTube image agent. Although these features are different, they were intentionally combined to demonstrate how an agent can have multiple skills. But you should know that agents are often specialized in certain tasks to perform them efficiently. When you run the application, only two agents appear. Others were intentionally left out to demonstrate dynamic addition of agents. This way, you can see how a newly added agent functions and performs its tasks even without prior knowledge of the app. Let's add an agent. Let's call it and document MCP agent. So we added a new agent. We can also, so this way you can see how a newly added agent functions and performs its task even without prior knowledge of the app. We will explore it later. But we can also remove an existing agent. So after removal, there is no need to load the agent's cards manually. The routing service acts as a dispatcher that decides which agent should handle each request. It performs the following key tasks: maintains the list of available agents, selects the most suitable agent for each request, falls back to general AI when no specialized agent is available. When we click Load Agent's card, the service registers all available agents by calling the register endpoint. When an agent is removed, it unregisters that agent from the list. You can see currently loaded agents by visiting the agent's endpoint. So now no agents. When we load agent cards, you see the agent's information here. If we remove one of them, so it will be removed from here. Each agent's metadata is retrieved from the well-known endpoint. For example, this is the coder agent, and actually we will retrieve the agent card information from this well-known endpoint. If any agent card is invalid, the client displays a notification. When user submits a prompt, the route endpoint is called. But if no agent is selected or no response is returned from the selected agents through the LLM, the fallback agent, the AI assistant, is invoked instead. The fallback agent retains the last 5 conversations in memory for context continuity. Initially, after implementing and testing 2 agents, via the CLI, I asked the AI to generate the frontend. It created React application with hard-coded routing logic. For example, prompts containing programming, code, or function words redirected to the coder agent. Prompts containing YouTube or video redirected to the YouTube agent. I then requested that the AI make agent selection dynamic, since agents can be added and removed at runtime. The selection should be based on each agent's card information, including its description, skills, and tags. In response, the AI began generating a routing service, as we discussed. Initially, I questioned why a separate routing service was needed, since the LLM-based selection logic could run directly in the client. However, I realized that it would expose the AI key to the client, making the server-side routing approach far more secure. There is an important distinction between supervisor orchestrator agents and the router agents. Supervisor agents hardcore other agents into the logic, creating tight coupling and requiring code updates whenever new agents are added. Router agents, like ours, discover and manage agents dynamically through self-registration. Agents announce their capabilities when they start. The routing service uses AI to intelligently match requests to the most appropriate agent based on skills and availability. This architecture highlights that A2A framework's dynamic, scalable, and loosely coupled approach is a major improvement over traditional server supervisor-based systems. Let's say the coder agent was routed. The agent generates code in multiple languages, creates and modifies files, streams file artifacts to the client, uses JNKit for AI code generation, and handles multi-file projects. In an A2A system, agents collaborate by exchanging tasks and events, enabling them to perform actions, share information, and complete workflows without constant human oversight. Tasks: the units of work that an agent can handle or pass to another agent. Tasks can be simple, for example fetching data, or complex, involving multiple agents. Agents often specialize in certain tasks to perform them efficiently. Events: agents communicate task updates, results, or state changes via events. Each event contains details about what happened, who initiated it, and any associated data or instructions. Events enable asynchronous coordination, allowing agents to work independently while staying aligned. So, tasks and events allow agents to collaborate, share information, and complete work automatically. This will become cleaner when we debug the application. YouTube and image agent. This agent uses tools to call the YouTube Data API to retrieve video IDs and generate images with DALL-E based on prompts. Audio document MCP agent. It relies on our hosted MCP, which generates audio from a prompt, returning the audio URL, and performs document retrieval. XAMCP agent. XAMCP agent it's from Symmetry AI. It performs real-time web searches, scrapes contents from specific URLs, and retrieves relevant context for programming tasks. You can see the external services we have used in the A2A application. Let's run the application to start the agents. We navigate to the server folder for the backend and the client folder for the frontend. To start all agents, including our hosted MCP server, we run npm run agents all, and for the client we will run npm run dev. So cd server npm run agents all, cd client npm run dev. Let's first load the existing two agents and prompt who is Donald Trump. You can see that no agents were selected, so it was fallback case handled by the AI assistant. Now let's check the memory. As mentioned earlier, in the fallback case, the system saves the last 5 conversations in the history. So we type, who were we talking about? Now I would like code in Python JavaScript, Java, and Go that prints hello world. Let's download it. Let's open it. Hello world in Python. Hello world in JavaScript. Hello world in Java. And hello world in Go. Say, I would like to watch a video about ocean animals. Now YouTube and image agent is called. Generate an image of Mount Ararat from the Armenian site. Now the image agent is called and the image is processing. Show me an HTML page with JavaScript and CSS included in the file, which displays a bar chart of 4 lightning tools products comparing their popularity along with each product's name and short description. But this is not the chart.js. Let's run it again. Please use chart.js. So we see the 4 products. Now let's remove the YouTube and image agent and ask the following question. YouTube video about New York. You see that this time it's picked up by the AI assistant since the YouTube agent was removed. Now let's add an agent. Let's add an EXA web search agent, third-party agent. Let's call it EXA MCP web search. We can view the card. Now let's ask who is Joe Biden. So it's handled by EXA MCP web search. You see that this time it was handled by the AI EXA service, not by the AI assistant, because the AI EXA agent was able to find the answer using web search. The follow by case wasn't executed this time. Now let's prompt lookup information about React framework. And the EXA could handle this because it can search and retrieve relevant context for any programming task. Now let's load the audio and document agent hosted on OMCP. So it's hosted on OMCP. Audio and document MCP agent. So we can view the card. Let's type, I would like to see the latest document about Microsoft AI achievements. Specify 3 documents in the code to be generated, so it will return 3. Let's type generating audio, the sky is blue.
Generating audio, the sky is blue.
So you can also download it. Let's remove the agent and ask again. As you can see, the prompt is picked up by AI assistant this time, since since we already removed the audio and document agent, so it's picked up by the AI assistant. We can also start a new conversation. We will explore A2A memory and see what happens when we initiate a new conversation. But now let's type where we talking about. Let's look at how to debug both the agents and the client. The debug configuration is defined in the launch.json file in VS Code. All these configurations were generated entirely by AI through prompts. To view them, we go View Run or Ctrl+Shift+D. There you will see the configurations generated by the AI. You can see each agent individually, including the hosted MCP server, which is very convenient. If you make changes to the agent, you can simply stop that process and rerun it. Sometimes after modifying certain files, it's best to kill all running agent processes and start debug agents plus routing again. But if you want to run both the client and the server together, simply start debug agents plus client, that we will do now. Once the application is running, we do not load any agents and begin debugging. We prompt who is Donald Trump. In determine-based agent function, we call the route endpoint in the routing service. As you can see in the routing service, we didn't select any agent. So we return fallback LLM. In determine-based agent, the selected agent name is fallback LLM. This time we are going to call the stream fallback endpoint. Stream fallback endpoint. Note we are also passing context ID, which is a randomly generated ID. So now we are inside stream fallback endpoint. So in the fallback context map, you can see that we keep the user messages as part of the conversation history. And we pass both the message and the conversation history, conversation context, to the LLM to get real-time streaming responses. You can see chunks appearing word by word as the AI generates them rather than waiting for the complete response. Now let's load agent and ask the question, who is Joe Biden? And this time route message is called because we have agents registered. We generate agents descriptions and pass them to the LLM. Again, the LLM responds with fallback LLM because no agent was chosen to handle the request. We are getting streams response. Now let's click on the new conversation button to start new conversation. Now in this case, from the agent manager, we are just setting new context ID. Let's type who were we talking about. Looking into fallback context, you can see that there are messages already stored. But now in this case we have new item in the map, which includes only the last prompt since we stored the new conversation, and we are passing only that prompt to the LLM. The response cannot reply properly because it has no memory of past conversations. Let's debug the coder agent and prompt it to generate Python code that prints hello world. Generate Python code that prints hello world. In the fallback case we discussed, it calls the route endpoint. Based on the user prompt, the selected agent is the coder agent. Now we are in the supporting streaming case, as the coder agent supports streaming. In the coder agent card, It supports streaming. We can also say how we format a message in A2A. We are now processing the stream. The execute method is called in the agent executor when the client sends a message to the coder agent. The task creation code block now handles the creation of and submission of a new task in the A2A system if it doesn't already exist. And to demonstrate it, we wait 20 seconds to allow the task event to reach the client. This is not needed in production. And the event as publish is used to send or broadcast the task, in this case the initial task, to the system so that other component services or agents can react to it. You see that the event kind is tasks in this case, but actually we ignore it on the client side. Now the code block publishes a working status update for a task in the A2A system. It lets other components and clients know that the task is currently being processed. Once the status update is received, the page displays the text contained in the parts of the message. So in the parts of the message we have text. It's called generating code. Now we are going to display it on the screen. So it's printing generating code. Now we are calling the generate string to generate the actual code. When the coder agent is initialized, we call define code format function. It's a custom function that sets up code formatting rules. The function provides detailed guidelines for how the AI should generate code. Parse message extracts the actual code from the AI-generated message text. And parse chunk handles streaming of chunked outputs by extracting code from the accumulated text. This loop sends all remaining code files as an artifact to the system once code generation is complete. Each file is published as task artifact update events so that clients or other agents can receive and display the final output. On the client side, we see the file name, we see the file name and its content from the artifact. And the status generating artifacts in this case is displayed on the client side because the text in the parts contains the file content. And actually we don't want to display it. Now it says generating artifacts. Once the chunks are generated, the parse message is called. And now the final status update is sent when it indicates generated files. And in this case, we have only one file, is a Python file. And this file has been generated successfully. We discussed the coder agent, which supports streaming. Right now, the YouTube and image agent doesn't support streaming. In the client code, we have no streaming case. And the first thing we do is render processing while waiting for the response. Let's start debugging. YouTube video about ocean animals. In this non-streaming case, instead of calling send message stream that we did before, we just call send message. As in the coder agent case, we are publishing the initial task, but you will notice that although it is published via event bus, by the event bus, the client doesn't receive notification, unlike the streaming case. And the same is true for status updates event case. You can see that the YouTube and image agent prompt, which acts as a detailed job manual for the AI, telling it exactly what it can do and how to do it properly. So now we are calling the AI using the prompt for this multi-purpose agent with two primary capabilities. You see tools. In this context, the tools array in the code defines which external functions or capabilities the agent can use when generating its response. Search YouTube allows the agent to search YouTube videos based on the query using the YouTube Data API. And the image tool allows the agent to generate or fetch images using the DALL-E image model. If the response is 11 characters long, it's a video ID, meaning the search YouTube tool has been called. Now we are going to publish the final status update as it's marked as final. Now the client receives the notification this time. In the no-streaming case, incremental updates are not sent. The final update object is marked with the final true, signaling that it's the only status update the client will receive. Since event bus publish final update is the only call, the client doesn't receive intermediate status updates, only the final one. But however, making the final status update as final true, it doesn't make other events irrelevant. Task creation, artifact updates, and other events are still part of the task lifecycle and carry essential information. Now let's prompt generate an image of Mount Ararat from the Armenian site. So in this case, the image tool is called and the image URL is returned. So depending on the return data, either in video ID or the image URL, we display the corresponding control on the page. Now let's change the streaming from false to true. So to apply the changes, we need to stop the YouTube and image agent in the terminal and to restart it. The debugging setup is convenient as it lets us restart only the agent we need. Let's refresh the page. And now streaming is true. Now let's type the same thing like YouTube. video about ocean animals. So you see now we are in the streaming case, support streaming. And now, like in the coder agent case, we receive immediate notifications. So in the streaming mode, rather than showing only processing world, the status update event text is displayed, which is the processing with YouTube API and image generation. Here is the YouTube API working. Here is the processing YouTube API and image generation. We are going to debug the audio document agent that uses our locally hosted MCP. The MCP we are using is the one I created a few months ago. Before debugging, I would like to talk about the MCP itself. MCP, the Model Context Protocol, is an open standard that simplifies how large language models access and interact with external data, tools, and services. This is the backend code I integrated into our project, which you will see later. This is the server and tools registered. The purpose of server tool is usually to register a new tool for capability with the MCP server. The important thing to notice is that the tools are on the server side. The transport uses standard input and output streams for communication. In MCP or similar agent server frameworks, communication from the client to the server is typically handled via transport layer. SSE, Server Sent Events, is a web technology for publishing updates from a server to a client over a single long-lived HTTP connection. Get SSE establishes the SSE connection from the client to the server. And Post Messages receives messages from the client, such as tool invocations, chat input. We have three clients. Let's look at the React MCP client. This is the React MCP client screenshot, where we can prompt something like Trump tariffs on Canada, selecting the corresponding tool, in this case the video tool, and send the request. As with our YouTube image agent case, we receive the YouTube ID and render the YouTube iframe on the page. On the front end, We are creating a new MCP client and setting up an SSE transport for communicating with the server. You can see how we select the tool and pass the query to the server, which is a tool call. Let's view our YouTube image agent calls in a diagram and compare it to the audio document agent. The YouTube image agent calls the tooling directly. You can also see it in the code. So we are calling tools directly. This search YouTube tool and image tool. The audio document agent calls the tools via the MCP server. This might raise the question, what are the main benefits of using the MCP server? Suppose at some point I decided to create a new agent, let's call it XYZ. I noticed that my agent can use already existing tool or tools that the YouTube image agent uses. Say the YouTube search tool. What I would have to do is copy the code, actually duplicate it, then adjust it for my XYZ agent, which is error prone. Or suppose a friend of yours in another company is developing agents and he knows that you have already implemented the YouTube search tool. He asks you about it. You pass the code, but it happens that he cannot integrate it into his project because they are writing in Python and your agent was implemented in JavaScript. Using the MCP server solves the problem because it exposes the tool in a language agnostic way, allowing it to be used across different environments without rewriting or duplicating code. Let's go to the Symmetry AI site, where you will see many MCP implemented agents. In the next section, you will see how I implemented XR search service in the project. Multiple projects can call these tools, actually agents implementing tools from Symmetry AI without any duplication. These agents are implemented in different languages, Python, JavaScript, Java, and so on. You can integrate them without worrying about the language they are written in. You just use the MCP protocol. If you go to my MCP source folder, you will see the code I copied from the GitHub page for the MCP backend. But only with two tools, audio and document. I deleted the other tools and their references. And to easily generate the agent code, I went to the front end of my MCP. Where I have the MCP server connection. I copied all the code and pasted it into cursor editor prompt area and asked the AI to generate the agent, taking into account the MCP part and the fact we already have the MCP backend in the code, in the project. It almost instantly and nearly perfectly generated the code, and I ran a few prompts on it. I will not go into details as we covered the tool calling extensively in the previous sections. I will not go into details as we covered them extensively in the previous section, but I will just show tool calling. It's important to remember that an agent is ideally focused on the single task. However, for demonstration purposes, I am showing multi-card agent that performs multiple tasks, each of which is quite different. We use a classifier in AI which based on the projects which based on the prompt returns either audio or document and call the respective tool. Let's debug the project. I am adding our audio and document agent. Note that the agent is not streaming, but you can change it and test it as I did in the YouTube and image case. Let's prompt generating audio. The sky is blue. You can see that we are in audio. We are in the audio tool case, and now we are calling MCP with user prompt. Once the call is executed, an MP3 file is generated in the MCP MP3 folder. The path is returned.
Generating audio. The sky is blue.
You can also download the generated audio. Let's type, I would like to retrieve the latest documents about Microsoft AI achievements. Now in this case, we return documents JSON. We return JSON with the documents. In the previous section, I demonstrated the audio and document agent which consumes tools from our hosted MCP server. This time we will use a third-party EXA MCP search agent from Symmetry AI. On the EXA page, you can see how to connect after you log in. I will not show it here as it would expose my API key, but you can see the exact configuration in the code. This time we use STDO client transport, whereas in our hosted MCP case, it was SCC client transport. STDO transport creates connection between your program and an external command line tool using standard input-output. Think of it as a bridge that allows your program to automatically talk to the CLI tool. Let's break it down. Tell CMD to run the following command and then exit npx runs a Node.js package without installing it globally. Y automatically answers yes to any prompt, like installing packages. Symmetry CLI latest specifies the package to run, the latest version. Run exa tells the CLI to execute the exa tool inside the Symmetry CLI. Key passes your API key from environment variables to authenticate with the exa service. I asked the AI to create an exa MCP agent. It started generating the code, but I noticed that since I already have our MCP hosted code in the package, it tries to use SCC client transport to generate it. What I did was copy the configuration section into the cursor prompt area and asked the AI to use this configuration. The AI then started modifying the code and generated it using stdio transport. It almost generated the entire code and also generated two skills in the agent card, as we see two tools for that agent. Let's add the agent. Let's call it MCP exa MCP agent. MCP search agent. This is not streaming agent. Now let's type lookup information about React framework. Calling XMCP search agent. When you call the exa tool, it returns JSON object representing the metadata and the results from the exa API search service. If you look at it, we can see there is a URL pointing to the React related page. You can click it to navigate to that page. While you can parse the result and display it to the client, I attempt to process it and return it in a human-readable format. You could do a better job in terms of displaying it, but I just wanted to show it. In AI or chat systems like Jenkit, LangGraph, or OpenAI agents, messages are often stored in a history array for each conversation. That history is then passed to the model so it can understand the conversation context, what has already been said, before generating the next reply. When we start the application, we set context ID, which is required for maintaining the message history. Each context ID represents a separate chat session or agent run. Let's run the application and type YouTube video about Yerevan. With the code, we can get the context ID and the user message. And store them in the context map to track the conversation history for that specific session. Then we convert the internal roles like agent and user into Jenkins expected format, model, and user for compatibility with its message schema. Then we pass messages array to the LLM using YouTube image agent prompt along with the required tools and configuration options. When we process and get the reply, which is in this case YouTube ID, we also store it. There isn't much point in doing it here, but it's good pattern, especially in not streaming cases, to store the result. Now I type generate Python code printing I am here. We are in the coder agent now, and you can see that in this case we do not have context map to keep the conversation history. So in the coder agent case, we will not save the conversation history. In A2A, the task ID identifies the task and the context ID identifies the conversation context. If both are preserved, the conversation history is maintained across requests, and there is no need for separate context map to keep the conversation history. The thing is, however, that in each prompt we generate new task, and for that reason we keep the history in the context map. Now let's type similar YouTube video, not the same one, but on the same subject. When I set similar YouTube video, the routing for that prompt redirected to the YouTube agent. And the LLM can use the conversation history to understand the context and generate video accordingly.
So you want to know what.
By the way, although we prompted everything from the same client, which executed both the coder agent and the YouTube image agent, you only see the history related to the specific agent. Now let's type JavaScript code that prints the same output. So we are inside the coder agent. No history. And you see that it actually printed hello world instead of printing I'm here, because there wasn't conversation history. Let's start new conversation. So now we are actually just setting new context ID. I'm typing similar YouTube video, not the same, but on the same context. So in the context map, we still have the old history. But we are passing the data corresponding only to the new context ID. Since there is no history, it couldn't find the previous video.